Hello everyone, I'm Amber Hodgson and this is Module 1, my personal introduction video. So a little bit about me. I am from a small town in rural southeast Kansas called Galesburg. This is near Parsons or Chanute or Erie or Pittsburgh. And this is my 10th year in education. It's my 4th year as a classroom teacher. I started out as a paraprofessional. I am currently working towards my master's degree in technology integration. I teach ELA and desktop publishing to the best middle schoolers, including my 2 daughters. My husband, Kellen, and I have been married for 15 years. Our daughters keep us very busy as we attend all their sporting events, and they play everything. I am the middle school girls basketball coach, which also keeps us very busy. So when I'm not at a ball game or a practice, I love to travel, to read, to spend time with my family and my friends. So here are some pictures that really do describe me. This is my basketball team from this year, my daughter's basketball and volleyball pictures. This is my husband and I on a cruise last year, right before we were quarantined. And this is a picture of my girls and I on our side-by-side with our dogs. That's something that we do a lot in the summer especially. All right, so teaching during a pandemic has been a challenge for sure. Aside from the difficult task of planning for both in-person and remote, I would say the biggest challenge for me has been keeping my remote students connected and engaged during our class discussions and lectures. There are times where I feel like I'm just teaching to a ceiling fan or a wall, and it's super frustrating. But what has helped me the most is staying organized. Keeping track of online work and in-person work was difficult, so I had to make like a checklist and really up my game when it comes to being organized. And also being flexible, which I was flexible before, but I really had to step that up too. Learn to just go with the flow. And let go of the things that I cannot control and keep a positive attitude. That's been very important this year. So, 3 types of mindsets. 1, all students can learn and grow. So having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset is vital in fostering a culture where students can learn and grow. 2, teacher collaboration over isolation. Social capital and teamwork will always outperform individual talent. Teamwork is the dream work. I say it in my classroom, I say it on the court. And 3, happiness is a choice. As Shawn Achor explains, happiness is not the belief that we need to change, but it's the realization we can. I think I agree with all 3 of those types of mindsets. I think those are all important and vital in the classroom. What are the 5 types of dispositions? Well, number 1, confidence, balancing ego with humility. Have confidence to lead despite other critics, and I would say this is something I personally need to work on, which I'll talk about more later. Risk taker and decisive. Not afraid to make decisions and take risks. Learn by doing, not afraid of failure. 3, sense of humor, so important. And this helps to de-escalate tension and increase positive interactions, and it reduces stress. So try to find humor in any circumstance. That is something that I think I'm very good at. 4, empathetically assertive. Balancing patience and persistence. You must view things from other perspectives. While leading change, recognize those moving forward and continue to coach those that are more reluctant by being empathetic. And I think that most definitely applies to this year. You know, change is hard, especially for our veteran teachers. And this has not been easy. And so we just have to be empathetic and understanding to the changes and Number 5, learner. Be a learning leader. Be active in conferences and workshops. And I think that that's super important. And that's definitely something that I'm doing as I'm continuing my education. And I talk about it with my students all the time in the classroom, that I'm still in school. And I let them know that you're not done learning. You know, it's a lifelong process. So What are the 3 types of practices? Well, first one is focus and prioritizing. Have the courage to say no. That's something I'm working on. Choose simplicity over complexity. I think that's important. 2, examining feedback and data, gathering data that is relevant to what they are prioritizing and focusing on. So it's not enough just to gather the data, but is that data necessary? And what is our focus? And let's prioritize that. And then 3, emotional intelligence. Always striving to treat people with dignity and respect and make them feel safe and valued, and be attuned to every conversation regardless of the message. Any student that comes up to me and wants to tell me a story, even if it's dreadful and I know I don't want to hear what they have to say, I act interested and I let them talk to me. I let them tell their story, because sometimes they don't have anyone to tell these stories to. So I think that's super important. Okay, so what are the 8 principles of ethical leadership? The first one is personal courage, standing up against policies that are not putting kids first. That drives me nuts. And I wish we had more leaders in our district that would take that stand. 2, public interest ahead of self, placing the needs of students and staff above the leader. 3, self-control, self-discipline, and integrity. Relationships should be built on mutual respect and ethical actions. 4, task and employee centeredness. So when making decisions, you must focus on both the needs of the students and the staff, provide balance, and create unity in the building. 5, recognizing talent. I think this is so important. Recognizing qualities of excellence and promote individuals. When we find people's strengths, when we find any kind of talent in anyone, whether it's students, teachers, leaders, I think we need to not only recognize those, but also celebrate those accomplishments, because just a little compliment or a little recognition on that really could go a long way. 6, requiring high ethics from everyone, and this includes staff and students and parents and everyone involved. And it has to be enforced to be effective. 7, sensitivity and understanding. Sensitivity and understanding are necessary in order to practice equity among members of the school community. And last but not least is 8, inclusiveness. A sense of belonging is key to gaining trust in a community. Consideration and respect for members of the organization has to be shown to motivate followers to lift morals, which in turn increase school performance. If I know that I'm valued at my workplace, if I know that I'm included and that people if I can trust my leaders and they have respect for me, I'm going to just move mountains for them. I'm going to continue to work hard. But if I don't feel like they appreciate what I'm doing, or that they're recognizing all the hard work I'm putting in, I'm not going to be as motivated to continue on. So, okay, so some of my personal strengths. I believe that all students can learn. As I stated before, I started my career in education as a paraprofessional, and this really opened my eyes that every student can learn. They all have that potential. They all can do it. They just develop at different times, different speeds, different ways. And so I think it's important as educators to recognize that, and to realize that maybe they can't learn to the standard that I'm teaching, but they can learn it. And so how can I close that gap, and what can I do to make them more successful? I need to foster that. So I think that's important, but every student can learn, and I believe that wholeheartedly. I bring humor in my classroom. I'm able to break stress and create relationships with my students. I can find humor in any circumstance. I make the best out of any situation. I never focus on the bad. I want my students to enjoy my classroom. When they come into my class for that period, I want them to be excited about it, and to feel like that they can relax and enjoy themselves when they're learning. So I think that's huge. And then I also value emotional intelligence. It is always my goal to leave a student feeling inspired and motivated in the classroom and on the basketball court. And I always treat people with dignity and respect, and I let them know that they are valued. So I think all 3 of those are my personal strengths, and super important. Some things I can work on examining feedback and data. That is something I've got to get better at when I'm teaching writing or um, even any of my lessons, really. I have 110 students that come through my classroom every day. So giving proper feedback is not always easy. And so oftentimes it gets pushed to the side. I need to be more diligent at gathering data that will give me valuable feedback that I can use to prioritize and focus my lessons around. I need to look at MAP scores and state assessment scores a little bit more to analyze my weaknesses as a teacher, maybe what we need to work on more, things like that. But also just focusing on what is our priority. And then confidence. Now, when I say confidence, I'm not talking about my teaching ability. I'm very confident in my teaching ability and with my relationships with my students. But where I lack confidence is with parents. I get very uncomfortable when a parent questions my methods or they become frustrated with my discipline referrals. I need to become more confident with my decision making and worry less about getting everyone's approval and know that I'm morally right and that I am doing the very best I can. Sometimes I let things go that maybe I shouldn't have, just because I don't want to step on toes or ruffle feathers or things like that. And so, picking my battles, so to speak. But I just need to be more confident in those kinds of things and worry less about the backlash I might get. Okay, educational success and well-being for every student and adult. So having the proper mindset, dispositions, and practices will provide the framework for a highly effective school leader. A strong leader will benefit students and staff by finding ways to connect and support all of their students, by making decisions that are best for students regardless of the popular opinion, creating a culture where everyone feels valued, and then value collaboration and working toward a common goal. I think those are all super important, and I agree with all of those. So the correlation. So this assignment allowed me to reflect and analyze what I already know and what I don't know about educational leadership, professional dispositions, and norms. It allowed me to get to know my classmates and to discover our similarities. The relevancy statement. So this assignment gave me good insight as to what we'll be learning in the duration of this course. It allowed me the opportunity to reflect on my strengths and weaknesses to become a better leader in the future. And then my personal reflection is, as I was reading the blogs for the assignment, I reflected on my personal experiences with the leaders in my school district, and I thought about how they're handling the pandemic and if they were exercising the leadership skills that were talked about in the blogs. Some of the leaders in my district are, and some maybe not so much. And I also thought about my weaknesses and how I can improve to become a better leader. So here's the references. So hopefully you enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching. I am looking forward to watching the rest of yours, and have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.